All right, welcome into another edition of the Big O Show with Orestes Destrade. I am your co-host, JP Peterson. This is the man, the myth, longtime major leaguer, three-time Japanese series champion, longtime Rays broadcaster, and the greatest dude ever.
And legend in his own mind.
That's it. Orestes Destrade. How are you, partner?
I am tranquil and tropical, brother. A lot going on. Going on. Been a busy week, obviously, with post World Series excitement. That was the greatest World Series ever. Greatest
ever? You're going ever?
I think it was the greatest World Series ever.
Going
and
ever?
I've seen a lot of them. I'd have to go back literally 50 years to the 75, Red Sox.
Oh, Rays, Red Sox.
No, not Rays.
Reds.
Red Sox. Yeah, you're
big
Reds.
Red machine, my
right
big red
behind
machine,
you.
yeah.
Yes, that was a great World Series. A lot of excitement. A lot of the Bernie Carbo walk off or tie home run, and then obviously the Carlton
Fisk,
and then Tony Perez,
Joe Morgan,
Game
7,
getting the key hits, and that was a great one. But this one was the greatest one. And then on the heels of that, then you get into the Hot Stove League and a lot of different things that are going on as you lead into, some dates that are crucial. Well, we just had a date that was crucial. November 6th, teams had to decide who they were going to option contracts to or not extend the option to. And we saw a very big name not be offered a contract.
Yeah. That'd be Pete Fairbanks.
And Pete Fairbanks is a beloved, Ray that had a lot of success here. The bottom line with me, brother, it's a situation where you look at two different things. You look at one being the fact that what is the biggest thing that the Rays are needing to fix this winter, and that for me is power. It's power hitting. Whether you find it in the outfield, which is really where you got to, find it. Because, you're set with Aranda at first. Yeah, I don't want to mess with that kid. I don't want to, give Jonathan Aranda an opportunity to have a healthy full year.
He's an all-star, for God's sake.
Not just that, but he's like quickly established himself as a legit hitter. He had done everything he could do in the minor leagues. He was shaky the first few times up and down because he wasn't playing every day.
Right.
He gets a chance to play every day. And he's a guy that I could see hit 300 almost with his eyes closed. He's that good a hitter, lefties and righties. But he's not, that 35 homer guy, especially back at the Trop. Okay. So
20, but 25
is legit.
85, 90 RBIs.
Maybe
we'll take
40
that all
doubles
day. Yeah.
And 85 to 100 RBIs.
Yeah.
I take that all day long. So then the power becomes, gets put on the table right now as the roster is in a Brandon Lau. So you keep Brandon Lau, maybe you package him up possibly and you try to get something, but if not, that's somebody that you can, almost ink in 30 to 35 home runs and all-star caliber type of offense. Yandy Diaz is the other power guy. After that, what do you have?
Caminero. Obviously,
of course you got Caminero, but I'm saying you're needing to fulfill some other power scenarios, mainly in the outfield.
Yes,
obviously Junior, you got to tie him up. This deal for me, I think the quote that Eric Nieanger put out there was the key one, which is this gives us the availability to early on in the winter to have maneuverability. And
here's the actual quote. He said, even with all that, he's saying all the great things. He said, it was still a hard decision, but one we felt we needed to make to give ourselves some flexibility as we enter the winter here.
Right. That's a lot right there you can kind of dive into, because the bottom line is, what are you going to do with that $10 million? Because it's not 11, it's 10. You owe Pete Fairbanks $1 million in a buyout. So how creative are you going to get with that $10 million that you have on the table, and how quickly you're going to try to do some deals, or, it just gives them that maneuverability. Now, on the flip side, you were thinking, okay, we'll just tie him up and give him the $11 million and then package him up on a deal. I think they were kind of just thinking like, okay, one thing we don't feel like we totally need is bullpen relief. With the problems that they had, they were still in the upper echelons, top 2 in strikeouts, top in a lot bullpen, of bullpen. Yeah, I'm talking about in bullpen relief. Yeah. So when you have the emergence of Uceta having a dominating second half, when you have Clevenger showing his wares as a lefty, stopgapper type of a guy, when you went out and gave up Bradley up for Jason Jacks,
Griffin Jacks,
excuse me,
who came in as this kind of a strikeout artist,
really and could do both of possibly start and relief. I like him in the back end.
Yeah.
I also like the kid Baker throwing from the side. So
Brian Baker, who we got in,
we picked him up, and then you got a couple of guys too, and Big E coming off the facial issue, unfortunately, and recuperating from that. Yep. He's got a nice arm.
Yep.
From the right side.
Manny Rodriguez
is another one. I think they felt like we've got a core bullpen. Let's just go ahead and and navigate through that money. Now, of course, you lose a name figure. We don't have that many.
Yeah.
This isn't a team.
You lose a leader.
You lose a leader
in the clubhouse.
The clubhouse, especially in the clubhouse when it pertains. So you always got to have a couple of leaders. You have the everyday, player leader, which we talked about before, that we don't know who really that is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not going to be Junior right now, even though they probably tie up Junior for a nice, extension deal, sweetheart deal. It's not Junior. I don't believe that it's also not Yandy Diaz. The guy is again, you go back to Brandon Lau being kind of the guy, but are you going to possibly package him and trade him? I don't know. But you decided to keep the power in lieu of the pitching because you feel like you have that, already in your cupboard.
Yeah. So Brandon Lau last year, $10.5 million option here, hit 31 home runs in 11
and a half, I think it was.
Yeah, 11 and a half. And 131 home runs, 134 games, which was the second most of his career. Only missed 15 on the injured list. Had a 20-game hitting streak, finished at 256, 86 RBIs, and a 785 OPS. That's good. That's good. And it's really good. And you'll take that every day. But if you can, as we've talked about, if you move Chandler Simpson to second base, you can package up Brandon Lau and bring back some other power.
And maybe they think, like I said, that's maybe an easier package to throw out there.
I agree.
Than maybe a Pete Fairbanks would have been. And then you're sitting all winter long waiting for that right optimal package. Not to say that the Rays have not been incredibly good over the last decade of how they trade and manipulate and find players. And kind of tend to always win in those trades. I mean, you can look at Pete Fairbanks as one of those trades. They picked up Pete Fairbanks with Texas Rangers from Nick Solak, who ended up, I liked him a lot in the minor leagues. I thought he was exciting. I thought he was going to be a nice major leaguer.
Didn't pan out.
Yeah. So, but Pete Fairbanks did pan out.
Damn right.
So they're very talented as far as procuring the right trade. Maybe they were thinking, we know that we could probably get the right trade for Brandon Lau. We don't know what's going to happen. And then the longer we go into spring training, in the offseason and into spring training, we haven't unloaded Pete Fairbanks. Now it becomes a situation like, what do you want to try to push a trade that you never want to be in a position that you need to push a trade because of money. Right. So they opted to early on just unleash that, have the money, and now navigate through the winter.
It was what, $1 million buyout?
$1 million buyout. So they got $10 million to work with, and they just have to work it right. And I think they will. I think a lot of people are going to jump the gun and kind of just speculate, they're doing the same thing that they did before. And you'd really have to go into really the minutia of what's behind this. We
don't know.
No, well, I'm saying I kind of feel you do a little bit. You do have the arms. One of the things that they still have strong, and they struggled, throughout the season and in key situations, but overall they have the pitching bullpen arms.
They do, yeah.
So take a chance there, free up the money, go get a power hitter, go get maybe another quality, reliever out there that's cheaper and you still use that $10 million to get two players instead of one.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thanks to our advertisers, our sponsors, yes, Texas Roadhouse, Wesley Chapel, where you watched Game 7.
Yeah, I loved it.
How was that experience?
It was an incredible experience. What a great staff they have over there, Tyler Hamilton and his TRWC, as I call it, Texas Roadhouse, Wesley Chapel, right there on Highway 52, with so much going on. They were slammed, and just a great experience. The bar atmosphere. If you're thinking about, well, I want to go watch a sporting event at Texas Roadhouse. Oh, dare I say, do so, because you get the best of both worlds. You get a great meal, you get great pricing, and also they have all the big screens,
hand-cut steaks.
It's almost like two restaurants in one, because in one side you get all the family kind of scenarios with their regular seating, and then up at the bar they've really created a sports atmosphere.
Yeah. It's really nice. Phenomenal. Lots of TVs and great food. So
and Tyler loves sports.
He does. He does.
He loves his
college football Saturdays. That's the place to go. They're open for lunch. He
was happy that they snuck by University of Florida.
They snuck by. They could have lost, if not for a controversial call in the end.
Controversial.
Yeah. So anyway, great place to watch sports and just have a great meal. Either way you want to go. Kingmakers Tampa, where we're coming to you from right here. Great private club that you can join, which part of this production studio would be yours if you join up here. We have a golf simulator. We have a sports bar. We have offices, a beautiful room you can use, a couple of private offices, all there for you at Kingmakers. And, of course, the Murphy Auto Group and Genesis of Tampa, where they are collecting items for Jamaican hurricane relief.
That is so important. And again, no surprise there. Mike Murphy does an incredible job of really pushing the community and doing community goods, the charity part, and just a wonderful organization. And look out for that. And obviously Grable being connected with them on that is one of the better entities out there trying to help people.
All right, so Genesis of Tampa, also go buy a car over there. If you buy a new car, you get no payments until 2026, so you can use that for Christmas money. Great cars over there, by the way. Check out the sedans. The GV70 SUV is fantastic. The GV80, great cars, great technology, great luxury at an absolutely ridiculous price. That's Genesis of Tampa. All right, we already got some comments here, my friend.
Yeah.
Mike H says Pete Fairbanks was the team's players union rep. Any ideas on who might replace him?
That's a great question. And every team obviously has a player rep, and a lot of times the player reps tend to be kind of that voice. And we just were talking about that of the roster of that, team organization, so to speak. And Pete was one of those guys. I think you would look at a couple of guys. Obviously Brandon Lau, but it gets in a little tricky situation because, he could be traded.
Right.
So I think they'll decide that. And, once they get into spring training, very soon, though, once they get into spring training, because you need to have that guy earmarked. The other guy that I think would be considered would be Shane McClanahan or Ryan Pepio. Those are the guys that now have a bit of tenure, even though Shane's been nicked up the last 2 years, unfortunately. But it has been kind of a spokesperson of the team and kind of one of the faces of the team. And I expect him, if he's back at a 90-plus clip, that's a free agent signing, getting that kid back. So
like a huge free agent signing.
He's a 15, 17-game winner, and I could see him kind of representing, the team in that fold.
Not Yandy?
I don't think it would be Yandy. Again, Yandy could also be speculated on a trade talk.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not far-fetched if the right package is included. And a lot of teams like Yandy Diaz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that he's that, kind of settling force on a roster that you just throw him out there 140, 150 games, and you're going to get 300. You're going to get quality at bats. You're going to get a guy that can hit for all fields, a run producer, an on-base machine. So there's teams that are going to want Yandy. Do I want to trade Yandy? I do not. You want to keep Yandy. Again, the key addition this offseason for the Rays has to be more power, specifically from the outfield.
Absolutely. Rick says another year over. That means Dodgers will sign another Rays pitcher. Goodbye, Fairbanks. You're
what?
Probably not wrong.
You may not be wrong. Andrew Friedman knows him well. He's done a great job because of the fact that he knows these players, not just being in baseball, but has actually been hands-on with the likes of Blake Snell, been hands-on with the likes of Tyler Glasnow, though I think he missed Glasnow by the time he got traded over from Pittsburgh. He was already with the Dodgers, but nevertheless, he knows the Dodgers. He knows the Rays system. He knows their pitching system. So when he gets a player, especially a pitcher from the Rays,
good intel.
He's got good intel. So, and talk about a team that needs to shore up a little more with their bullpen.
Oh yeah. Michael LaRue says the Rays added former number 1 pitching prospect Forrest Whitley to the 40-man roster after a solid season in Durham, 2.6 ERA, 66 Ks in 55 innings. He's out of options, so he might be on the opening day roster.
Very likely.
Yeah.
They're real high on Forrest Whitley, as am I. There was a lot of shakeups going on in order to because you have to have your 40-man roster also this week set because of the infamous Rule 5 trade scenario. The Rule 5 draft.
Yeah.
And so things were done that kind of surprised me a little bit. A guy in Cameron Meisner was DFA'd. Bob Seymour was DFA'd, completely taken out. This is a minor league player of the year for the Rays. But they needed, Alex Vallejo, who had been, off the injured, and a guy that, a local product that we kind of all wished that he finally kind of, settled in, and he was let go. So in order to fit the likes of Forrest Whitley, in order to fit, they picked up Jake Fraley from the Braves, who he got put on waivers. So they set up their 40-man roster, but not without some very difficult decisions.
So Jake Fraley, kind of a platoon hitting outfielder, right fielder,
drafted by the Rays.
They bring him back. He's not the power hitting outfielder we're looking for. I mean, he's had 15 or 16 in platoon situations, which isn't terrible.
No,
that translates into 28 to 30 home runs a year, but 31 years old.
Yeah. This is one of those sabermetric picks that they like Jake Fraley, and they wanted to bring him back. They feel that he fits in a platoon role, and we'll see what transpires. We'll see what else they're able to manipulate and bring in offensively for the outfield. They know that they have to bring in people that have a lot more pop than what they've had.
Mm-hmm.
So this kid can possibly fill that. Not super high on him, but it was a deal that was available once the Braves let this kid go, and they're taking a chance on that. Now, it's a chance that kind of is a little bit costly because he does have enough tenure to pop into the infamous arbitration.
$3.1 million estimated arbitration.
Exactly. So he's not cheap. They'll try to negotiate and not get to that point and probably sign a little less than that. But in order to tie him up, they got to commit some money to this guy because he's got enough tenure in the big league. So that'll be an interesting take.
Last year, 200 started 55 games for the Braves, played in 77 total, 191 at-bats, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs, 49 strikeouts in those 191 at-bats. That's not
no, it's he's just a nice
241 hitter,
average kind of
on base 332, OPS 714, his WAR 0.32.
He's not O'Hearn, for example.
No, he's not.
Who was a guy that popped 17 home runs this year and has real potential to when you're talking about similar ages. O'Hearn's 32, Freely's going to be 31. I want O'Hearn, you know what I mean? But O'Hearn's going to be a lot more expensive, not in the teens of millions, but he's going to be up there. So we'll see if they can maybe jump into that FA bandwagon of picking a guy. That's who I would be excited about, because I think O'Hearn, who's predominantly a first baseman but has played throughout the major leagues and minor leagues, both corner outfields, predominantly left field. That's the guy that I would want.
Would work.
That would work. And then you get a scary bat. You need another scare bat in order to put around the great Junior Caminero, to put around possibly a Brandon Lau, to put around Aranda and obviously Yandy Diaz getting on base and scoring a lot of runs because of those power bats. But if you get down to the bottom like we had, all of last year, and you're having singles hitters,
Yeah.
you're not scoring as many runs as you need.
Right now, Sport Track has the Rays at a estimated
What, in the 90s?
$96 million payroll. And that's without Fairbanks.
That's without Fairbanks, and that's including what the estimation is on the multiple arbitration hearings. That, numbers basically is what has been tallied in, right?
Yeah, their active roster would right now is at 31 million. Right. So but the actual team, it looks like they'll put on the field, and their 1 through 40 payroll is at 95 million.
Gotcha.
So we'll see where it goes from there, but that's including Christopher Morel at 3 million.
Right.
I don't think he's going to be around.
Shane Boz probably shy of 3 million.
Yeah. It's most of the guys that are going to be around. McClanahan's at 3.6. Griffin Jackson's at 3.5. At 2, and these are all arbitration estimates.
Right. Yeah, again, that may be less than that if they don't get to arbitration. You know what I mean? Some of them might end up being 1-year deals. You may have some guys like a Griffin Jacks that maybe signs a 2 or 3 year deal. The Rays are known for their option type deals. They like those scenarios where the team controls the option and ties the guy up so Griffin Jacks doesn't hurt him and goes out and has a great year, and then all of a sudden he's an $8 million arbitration guy. So they play that scale very, very well. They've been very talented at it. The bottom line is how much more over that 98 are they going to be able to and willing to go to get into that 110, 115. That's the sweet spot for me. If they can be,
and I think they're going to get there.
If they get there, that means they've added a power bat, maybe another veteran reliever. There's Tyler Rogers and Taylor Rogers, by the way. There's 2 free agents out there that are very similar names and nice arm. One's a righty, one's a lefty. But the bottom line is that there's guys out there that you can tap. You're not going to be getting the sweepstakes for Edwin Diaz, obviously. But what has happened now is that Pete Fairbanks has kind of jockeyed himself probably into the number 2 slot as right behind Edwin Diaz as, the most attractive reliever in the market. It's not a super heavy market, but you have guys like, Robert Suarez, the infamous Devin Williams, who I don't think the Yankees are going to probably bring back now that they have Bednar. Those guys are out there in the free agent market.
So as far as the starting rotation goes, I mean, obviously the huge question mark is Shane McClanahan.
Right.
And if he can come back, you got Shane, Rasmussen, who had an all-star season.
He really did.
Pepio.
Should be, hopefully, Drew should be spread out a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they were really controlling his innings. So if he responds well this winter, and his body, and more importantly his arm, is at the level that takes him to the next level, and you add 15-20% in innings, now all of a sudden you're talking about a guy that could be in the mix of, dare I say, a Cy Young race. That's how good that guy can be.
So what do you do with Ian Seymour, who they DFA'd?
Did they DFA Ian Seymour? I know they DFA Bob Seymour.
No, that says Ian Seymour. They
oh wow,
they DFA'd. I was surprised. I'm looking at transactions right now.
Right.
Which surprised me
a little bit. I am surprised. I'm not surprised by Bob.
Yeah.
I don't think there was, they didn't feel like that Bob Seymour is going to be that big, and they don't have a position for him.
Right.
Because it's a Ronda's to lose,
Right.
So Seymour's not going to DH, and he's not an outfielder. So I got that one. I like Ian Seymour. I mean, that little lefty was, showed some wares, but I don't know on that one. But the bottom line, I think the crux is how well is Shane McClanahan going to come back, and how recuperated is he from now the blood clot issue and his arm,
nerve damage, whatever the hell that was,
or the nerve damage thing. So that guy is crucial, because if he's back to form,
it changes everything.
It changes it. Now you have a 1-2 with Drew and Shane that just is devastating. And then you got Ryan Pepio, who could be a stud. You know what I mean?
He could be a one.
In fact, he was the one for Drew and Ryan at towards the end of the season. And then you have Shane Boz, who's kind of like
They have the best stuff of all of them.
He's the enigma because he arguably does have the best stuff of all of them. And he had basically like a 500 record this year, but at times he was so dominant, and then at times he would lose it and just walk people. So if he can kind of shore in and get focus and be fastball, minded, strike one, that's a devastating 5-pack right there.
Yeah, and throw in Forrest Whitley. I thought Ian Seymour pitched really, really well. Right. You got Joe Boyle, Joe Rock.
And Joe Rock. I think Rock might be considered more in the bullpen, but Joe Boyle also showed his wear. So listen, the arms are there. The arms are there. The pitching coach is definitely there, and Kyle Snyder, he's a beast.
He knows what he's doing.
And so now it's a matter of shoring that up, but adding some offense. So then you don't have as many of these, we had so many close games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings that came down to some mistakes they made on the mound because of the offense wasn't that aggressive, especially in the second half. But they had some moments in the first half for sure when they went down that streak where they were scoring 8, 9, 10 runs. And you're like, oh, my God, this team is so dynamic offensively. But overall, they weren't.
Yeah,
overall,
fantastic.
It was not a power slugging team.
All right, so you got there's a few guys out there that you could add. It's Bo Bichette.
Dante will come out of retirement.
Bo Bichette, 8 years. These are estimates of what they're going to receive. 8 years, $208 million.
I think he's going to beat that.
Yeah, I think he's going to get more.
I think he's going to get more than that.
Kyle Tucker, our good friend Kyle. All these kids from Tampa.
Yeah.
Kyle, the top free agent. Kyle Tucker, 11 years, $400 million.
I think Kyle will probably be more like the Judge kind of thing. I don't think Kyle will get 11 years, but I think he'll probably get like 9 with a lot of opt-outs, somewhere in the 360, kind of similar to what the big man Aaron Judge got, or a little bit north of what Trey Turner. Trey Turner got more years, but he was a little younger, by a year or two. I think Kyle is the guy that a lot of teams are going to covet, and rightfully so. Even though he had an injury-riddled season and he just didn't ever got going for real, he did win a Silver Slugger this year. But the bottom line is that Kyle Tucker is a frontline, one of the top 5 everyday players in the major leagues.
And I don't think he's getting signed by the Rays. Not this year.
No,
not this year.
Nor is our boy Pete Alonso. By the way, that's 2 guys from Plant High.
Yeah.
How about that?
Pete Alonso, 4 years, 110.
Greatest hit player to ever come out of Plant High?
Wade Boggs.
Hello, Wade. We love you, and I want to send a message out to him, and that I just love that guy, and want to keep on healing from his
cancer diagnosis.
Cancer.
No, he beat it. He beat it
in remission, and keep on going, buddy.
So we had Tino was in here the other day. The great Tino Martinez, which by the way we have a pickleball tournament going on at his place tomorrow out Tampa Bay Pickleball out at the Oldsmar Flea Market. Oldsmar Flea Market.
Yeah.
Come on out and join us from 1 to 5 o'clock. We're having a little fundraiser for
all means
Sports Club of Tampa Bay.
I'm going to come out there and watch you trip up.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. I'm coming out to watch because
fantastic.
I'm on my leg right now. I can't play, but I'm going to watch you fall. I mean,
yeah, and I will.
No.
But Tino, I was talking about this with Tino, who played 1 year with the Rays in 2004.
Yeah.
That, this new group, I think, is very much going to embrace the alumni and bring them back and into the fold, like you see so many of the great organizations, like the Buccaneers do, and the Lightning
Bucks are so good at doing that.
Just keeping it, that branding and that family. And now the Rays have history.
Yeah.
And it's not just the guys that played for us. Wade Boggs, Fred McGriff,
right.
Tino. I mean, these local guys, Doug Wechter. But these are, guys that live here,
sure,
the Mike Heaths of the world, and just guys that have played Major League Baseball. They all live here now. To bring them back into the fold as part of the baseball family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Tampa's been such a rich history of baseball family. Not all of them have played for the Rays, but a lot of them have been a part of it. Obviously, Lou Piniella, my beloved, first manager and a guy that I respect so much. And the thing about it that you just mentioned about, reaching out to not only the locals that played here, but also, this is an area because of spring training and being the Cactus League and having so many teams that make their home here. A lot of players just retired here. And so you have a plethora of players that are tied to Major League Baseball, former All-Stars, but also just former players. I think all along the Rays should have been ingratiating themselves with a lot of those guys and having them over, just having them at the ballpark, walking around and saying,
signing autographs.
Yeah, today, by the way, hey, we've got Mark Whitten is at the game over here today. And by the way,
Mark Whitten.
Mark does a great job with the kids in the RBI program and the rec center that he runs and pushes positive influence to via baseball and education. So those guys, let's go out and bring them back in regularly, and that's do events in the community. That there's one more thing I'll say about that. A lot of the guys that live here that didn't play for the Rays, but were from here or settled here because of spring training and all these teams, obviously the Phillies and the Yankees and the Blue Jays and down the street, obviously in Bradenton with the Pirates, it's a plethora of so many players. They all love the Rays. To be so close to Major League Baseball again and always. You just have to tap on them. Another guy, is from Venezuela, threw the first pitch for us, the lefty. Goodness, now I'm forgetting his name. Wilson Alvarez. He's down in
our first game.
And they've done some things and had Wilson.
But not really.
It's more. You got to get.
Can we get an old timers game? Can we get an old timers game?
Easily. You can get an old timers game.
If you played for the Rays, or maybe you live here locally, let's have an all-star.
Let's do something fun and raise money for some charities.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. Bring them into the fold.
I'm gonna suggest that.
So and to the point, like, could we sign a local kid?
Right.
To bring. I mean, Dante Bichette. I keep saying that. Bo Bichette is a player that's not. It's not. I can understand Kyle Tucker is going to be a huge $35-40 million player. That might be a little bit.
Alonso too.
Yeah, Alonso as well. But both Bichette a little bit more in our price range, and we could use a shortstop.
Firstly, I think Bo's going to be coveted by some other big city teams. So I don't think so. I think he would have to take a hometown discount for that to happen. And I really think that Bo's going to just re-sign with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have enough money. They've made enough money.
Good God, yes.
That it would be ludicrous for them to not re-sign one of their two faces of that organization. Obviously, the first one being Vladdy. So I don't even think Bo will be in question. If it is, it's because somebody crazy, of the big 4 or 5 decided to just go after him. You know what I mean? Hot and heavy of Boston, or, dare I say, even the Chicago Cubs who haven't been opening up the pocket, the purse strings, and don't
should be.
They should. They're a big market team, but maybe they lose Tucker in lieu of getting I don't know. But the bottom line is that I think he'll stay over there. But there are a few other, signings that we talked about before that kind of fit more in the range that. But hey, I'll tell you a guy that I would love for them to consider. And again, we just talked about that we do have a lot of arms, but there's a guy from the team that I was have been connected with for 35 years, and that's the Cebu Lions that's coming out, and his name is Tetsuya Imai. So you're going to be hearing this name, Imai. Tetsuya's a right-handed pitcher, built similarly, a little taller, a little lankier than Yamamoto, but is a stud. He's not Yamamoto. Let's not get crazy out there. Right. But he's a poor man's Yamamoto. He just had another sensational year, had a sub-2 ERA, led the league in strikeouts, and he is a beast of a right-handed pitcher with a great fastball, exceptional slider, really good split, and he's really gotten, in the last couple of years, gotten the feel of pitching. Oh, by the way, here's a kid that I got to interject last year, being the special advisor to the team, the Cebu Lions last year. He's been actually working on his English for the last 3 years, knowing that he was going to be coming out. Okay. So when he would come up to me, he tried to talk to me in English, and he's like, "Hey, Ore, how are you?" And I'd be talking on my Japanese, but he's like, "No, let's talk English." So that's a kid that probably is going to sign in the 3-year, 4-year, 60, 50-something million range, unless some team goes crazy because of what Yamamoto did, is going to give him 70, 75.
Yeah.
That can happen. But
price has gone up.
But here's what that does. If you go after that market, that's why a guy like Shota Imanaga, who just got offered the what do you call it? The Major League 22-5 package. Goodness, I can't remember what they call that. Where to stay with the team. You want to, if you can have a Japanese talent, go after it, brother.
Because you can sell those.
You can sell
your broadcast
so
rights.
much. You can sell your broadcast. There's so much
in Japan
as far as second and third tier companies that want to market.
Yeah, how does that work? Like if the Rays were to sign one of these Japanese stars, how do they directly get revenue back?
Basically, you get revenue back by selling advertising
to the Japanese in sponsorships, because your games are going to be shown more.
Your games are going to be shown more. Now they're going to be buying your hats and your wares from because of that kid, that player. So it makes an immense amount. Listen, if you can, and that's definitely if you hit a guy that does well, So the qualifying offer, I couldn't think of the number, but so Chicago went ahead and gave the 22-5 qualifying offer to Shota, though I think Shota is going to say no to that and go into the market. And again, because of the greatness that has happened with the Dodgers, primarily because of Shohei, Yamamoto, and even
Sasaki.
The rookie, teams might jump in and go, okay, so you're wanting more than 22-5, we'll give you 3 years for 60. We'll give you 3 years
as a revenue generator.
As a revenue generator. Yeah. And I think Imanaga is going to get that, even though he had a subpar year this year. So those things are all come into consideration this winter because of the offshoots of things that have happened and the success that certain players have had. You look at a player like Kike Hernandez and what he's done. So then you want to try to sign a player that's kind of has that, that Ben Zobrist appeal that a Kike Hernandez has. And so those things become a factor in what's going to go on this offseason.
All right. Just by reference, by the way, Bo Bichette, if you're thinking about, well, how many home runs does he hit? He averages since 2021.
About 18, 19?
He's had 29, 24, 20, 18. So he's averaged about 23 home runs and about 85 RBIs. Led the league in hits 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
on base percentage
is always in the 343.
Scoring runs
337 career, OPS 806, career WAR average. His career WAR in 7 years is 21, so averaging about 3 there. So yeah,
his wrist has got to be over 300 probably. So he hits the runners scoring position. We saw that in the postseason and in the World Series, how good he is with runners in scoring position. He is just one of the top 10 elite batsmiths in the major leagues. I'm not saying, obviously not at the Shohei or at the Cal Raleigh level or the Judge, but he's at the level that if there's a key moment in the game, I want him at bat.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. So
that has the it factor.
And we obviously with Carson Williams, a budding star.
Yeah.
Do the Rays want to go out and spend that on a shortstop? I mean, Carson is by no means a lock.
A lock. No means.
The strikeouts are still a major issue. I mean, he's got pop.
Right.
Mike H actually asked, who do you think plays more innings at shortstop, Walls or Carson?
I think Carson's going to end up playing more innings at shortstop. And I think right now, and it starts already in November for that kid. If it hasn't, then somebody needs to call him. And that is to start working on his swing, working on making more contact. Obviously, there's other aspects of it. He's very good defensively, working on all those other 5 tools. But the bottom line for him is cutting down his swing and being more of a contact hitter. And oh, by the way, if he does that, he's going to be surprised how many home runs, how many doubles he hits, because he kind of swings. The biggest problem that I saw with him is that he swings outside of his zone. So if he can start working on zone management and what pitches I really can hit, let me get on base. He's not a super burner, but he runs very well.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's just an athlete, this kid, right?
Defensively
a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not at the level of Walls, but
Pretty damn good.
Pretty damn good.
He handled himself really well, I thought.
I if he comes to the spring training proper, mentally focused, and shows that he's cut his swing down and cut his, going out of the zone down, I hand him the ball and the glove at shortstop. And then you have Tyler Walls always there, always ready. He could pop in at second. He could pop in at short. Pop in at third, wherever. The guy's a Gold Glove player, but he just can't be my everyday shortstop.
Yeah, he just doesn't hit enough. But he's a great tool to have.
Oh my God,
great tool to have
for 2.3 in today's age, and then I think they went ahead and exercised the 3.1 for next year. That's a lock, man. Just leave that alone, because he definitely would get money out in the market because of that glove. So the answer to that is that it should be Carson. And I don't think there's enough in the kitty to go after a $200 million plus deal to go get Bo. Yeah. I just don't think it is.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And Alonso goes somewhere else too.
Our friend Rick says, prayers to you both after the losses of your father. May God bless you and your families. Both of our fathers, mine at 94, yours at what, 96?
Almost 96.
Almost 96.
95.
Yeah.
96 in February.
Yeah, I know your dad was a big part of your growing up. My dad, not as much, but as he was a catcher in college. So he would catch me and my brother from time to time.
Where out west?
Yeah, Caltech.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
legit.
Yeah. Played catcher, played center for the football team back in the day. So
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, dads in baseball are something that is kind of timeless.
It is. And though, in this day and age, moms in baseball kind of becomes more.
Yeah, true.
They've been the ones that pick you up, take you to practice, take you everywhere. The initial early years of the playing catch and teaching you a little bit of the basics of the game, especially you guys like your father and my father that knew a little more than basics, was just imperative.
Yeah, I caught a little in Little League, and I quickly realized I didn't want to do that. But my dad taught me, how to do all those catcher things,
right.
Back in the day. So thanks, Pop, for giving me my start in baseball, a game I absolutely loved playing and growing up, and played through high school, and just it was one of the biggest joys of my life to play baseball.
Well, listen, the game itself, we saw how dynamic it is and how fun it is. So with the World Series. Yeah,
that was an incredible World Series. All right, you want to delve into a little bit of postseason awards?
Yeah.
What you think?
Listen, November 10th, which is coming up on Monday, they'll be starting out to give out regularly the awards, and when you go right to the big boy, the American League is going to have a battle. Some people think it's a slam dunk, that it's Cal Raleigh. Others, including myself, think it's not a slam dunk. Aaron Judge arguably had his best season of all, and that's talking about a guy that's already won a couple of MVPs. But I still think, in my estimate, you go to Cal Raleigh. And the reason that you go to Cal Raleigh, it's not so much the 60 homers, because honestly, I think I still would have given it to him if he hit 50 homers. It's the fact that he was the catcher.
Yeah.
The fact that he was the leader. We talked a lot about leader, what Fairbanks means and what some of these other guys mean to their team. This guy is the heart and soul of that team. So is Aaron Judge. Don't get me wrong. It's just that this guy ended up doing, in a way, kind of what Shohei means to baseball, which is that duality of, you're stopping their offense by pitching, and you're helping your offense by hitting. Cal was one of the best catchers this year, especially blocking and throwing, and good framer. So, when you catch that many games, anywhere over 140 games, it's insane to be able to hit at the level he did, to have the RBIs, to have the key hits, to have the timely home runs, to have the risk that he had. It's Cal Raleigh. I mean, again, incredible year that Judge had. Judge led in all other offensive categories other than home runs. RBIs, on base percentage, almost at 500.
Yeah.
OPS, just ridiculous, Bugs Bunny numbers. He did something this year that I wasn't expecting him to be able to do. Oh, by the way, he led the league in hitting.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. But he did something that I really was impressed with, and that just finished talking about what Carson Williams needs to do, and that he shored up his own strike zone. He got smart enough to know, okay, I'm not going to chase that slider down and away. I'm going to take it, or I'm going to have a different type of swing and not try to pull that slider down and away. If it's a little bit up and hittable, instead of trying to pull it to hit a homer, I'm going to go ahead and hit a base hit to right field. I'm going to get a base hit to center. I'm going to hit a double. And all of a sudden, his on-base percentage rose, his batting average rose. Who'd have thunk it that this guy would be, hitting well over 320? After, he's more of a 280, 290 guy, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, he's up 40 points on his yearly average. That just takes you to another stratosphere of what type of hitter he's become, and I don't see that stopping. So if you ask me who's going to win the MVP in 2026 for the American League, I'm going to tell you it's Aaron Judge. Who was the MVP for 2025? I'm going to tell you it's Cal Raleigh.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
What in the National League? What is there a question? People were talking about Juan Soto. They're talking about the year that Kyle Schwarber had.
It's nice.
They were talking about this and that.
It's Ohtani.
It's Shohei Ohtani.
And it's going to be as long as he plays the game.
Arguably, barring injury, because it doesn't look like if he doesn't get hurt, then he's just too good on both sides of the field. And he did incredible other things this year, offensively and on the pitching mound. He was just impeccable.
3 home runs and 10 strikeouts in a game.
Yeah, well, that was in the playoffs, so it don't really technically count to the MVP race. But he did it all.
Yeah, and
that guy wins his 4th. Oh, by the way, joins Barry Bonds with 4 MVPs, and Bonds at 7, obviously, but he catches up to Bonds at least with the most.
Got a long way to go. He'll probably pass him.
He very likely would pass him. We were talking about Ozzie Smith winning 11 consecutive Gold Gloves. This guy's in that type of range right now in his life because he's perfect age-wise, that he's still young enough to kind of still continue to peak. He's not slowing down. He's not in his, early 30s going down, 32, 33, 34. He's still peaking, and he hasn't even hit 30 yet.
All right, what else we got for?
Well, as far as the AL Rookie of the Year, a lot has been said about Roman Anthony. What a great talent this kid is. What a wonderful job he did. It was a shame that he got hurt, couldn't play in the playoffs. I think it hurt the Red Sox a lot in the playoffs because of missing that incredible dynamic bat. But it was Nick Kurtz's world, and he just owned it. So this guy wins hands down the Rookie of the Year. He did have a little competition with his shortstop, Jacob Wilson, who was the guy that was battling Judge for the hitting title. What a young talent that kid is. He ended up getting nicked up and missing a few weeks, but love the future in the infield for the Athletics. But it's Nick Kurtz's world. On the flip side, Drake Baldwin. What a step up that guy took. When Sean Murphy cracked his ribs in spring training, it was like, oh shoot. No doubt a top prospect. They were already excited about Drake Baldwin, but they weren't expecting what they got. They got 274, 19 home runs, 80 RBIs. He led the rookies in RBIs in the National League. Hands down should be Drake Baldwin. So those two kids are young, fresh, exciting talent for the future of baseball in as young players. Cy Young is going to be a clash. I think the National League, everybody pretty much agrees. I do too. It's just a touchy thing with Paul Skeens, obviously not winning enough games. But you kind of go back to King Felix Hernandez. One year when he won the Cy Young, and I think he was 13 and 14. But he had like a sub-2 ERA, led the league in strikeouts. It was just a dominating force. He just had no help whatsoever. That's what this is. Paul Skeens is a future superstar. and deserves it. Tarek Schoolball, I think it's just that Garrett Crochet had such a great year that you forget what a great year, but it's not the same comparable to. So when you go Cal Raleigh, Judge steps up even a little more. What Cal Raleigh did was just unfathomable. I don't see Crochet doing what Cal Raleigh did. He just had a really great year. Yeah. Tarek Schoolball had a better year than when he won the Cy Young last year. Exactly. So it's Tarek Schoolball, and it's his world. If I have a game to win in the major leagues, I'm handing the ball to Tarek Schoolball. Believe it or not, before I hand it to Yamamoto. So that's how good Tarek Schoolball is. As far as manager of the year, that's a good one too. There's a lot. You could even go with the old man in the sea in Tito Francona. On that one, and the job that the Cincinnati Reds to sneak in the playoffs, they had nothing, bro, very little, and he did a lot. But it's Pat Murphy. Pat Murphy needs to win, and the job that he did with the Milwaukee Brewers on my side, I think Murphy should win that an exceptional year. Led the majors in wins, and then on the flip side, Dan Wilson did an incredible job with Seattle Mariners. I would give it to Dan
Schneider.
Schneider's going to be in contention. I think that Dan Wilson, Schneider could win it because you really do have to look at last to first situation. So you took a Toronto team that in a tough division that took it from bottom, number 5 to do what they did. Let's take away because you can't include the postseason and the drive they had just. In the regular season. Great job by John Schneider. I'm a big fan of John Schneider, but I think Dan Wilson really kind of did something special with that squad.
Either one of those.
I'm cool with. I'm cool with that as far as those awards go.
Mike H mentioned Ozzie Timmons is back as assistant hitting coach.
Nice to see.
Fun watching him do push-ups at the top of the dugout.
Yeah. That's kind of a great hire. Ozzie had come back this past season inside the organization as a special advisor, and then the opening, came about. And I think that's a smart play. He's a guy that really understands not only the organization for so many years that he's been involved in different ways, but he also, understands these young players, and he gets along. Even as an older,
it's a mentor.
He's a mentor. The guys really kind of migrate to him. You need to have those guys. I remember,
especially when you got a young.
Remember the time when they were peaking in 08, 9, 10. There was a guy in George Hendrick. That was
That's right.
Players swore by George Hendrick, and he was a guy who was like, speak softly, carry a big stick type of guy. He didn't say a whole lot, but man, was he important in that clubhouse. So I think that's a smart hire.
Yeah, that helps him out a bunch.
Yeah.
All right. Any by the ways?
By the ways. Let me give me a topic or two, and then I could tell you. I don't know. I didn't plan an by the way.
Well, I think just in this hot stove league, there are a lot of teams that I think in past years have not been involved. And as teams are diving more towards the bottom than going out and spending money, even though revenues are going up. Does that change this offseason? Last few free agencies, we've had a couple of big players jump in, the Mets and the Dodgers, but overall, there's been less spending. Do you think that changes in this offseason? Probably not with the lockout.
I don't think so. With the lockout coming up, I think not.
Groups are probably going to hold their powder until they figure out what's going on.
I think they're going to try. There's going to be, again, the have and the have-nots.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be certain groups that are going to hold their power. I will tell you, by the way, it happens to be with the Japanese players coming out. I'm mentioning keep an eye on that kid. I hope the Rays maybe make a push for him. That would be super cool. But he's going to be a talent. So
which one?
Tetsuya Imai.
Imai, yeah.
Okay, that's the right-handed pitcher from my team that I was been tied to for 35 years as a player and also in the organization.
What's he going to cost?
I think he's going to be probably a 4 or 5 year, 50 to 70. It just depends who gets excited by him because of the Yamamoto thing. So he's going to be compared.
Be careful of that.
He's going exactly. He's going to be compared, hopefully favorably to Yamamoto. Right-handed pitcher, throws 4 or 5 pitches. strikeout specialist, etc. Imai is interesting. Murakami, that we've talked about a little bit in the show before, is the top guy. He's the guy that was a Triple Crown winner. He's 26 years old. He's been nicked the last couple of years and hurt. He's a first baseman, third baseman, prefers to play third. It'll be interesting. The team that really I think is going to go after him is going to be a team that really wants him at third, because that's where he really wants to play.
So we're out on that.
But the guy to also keep an eye on is by the name of Okamoto. Okamoto comes from the Tokyo Giants. He's 3 years older. He's 29 years old. But what a bat. This guy is legit. He's not going to be a 40 homer guy. He's going to be a 25 to 30.
Where's he play?
He plays first and third.
Where's the third too?
Predominantly better, probably suited at first and DH. I put him kind of in that a right-handed. Murakami's a left-handed, right-handed thrower. Okamoto's a right-handed, obviously, first and third, and a right-handed hitter. But I compare him, and coincidentally, he comes from the Tokyo Giants, where Hideki Matsui came from. He's a Hideki Matsui reincarnate from the right side.
Gotcha.
So this guy is a quality bat that could give you that 80, 90 RBIs. He's that good of a bat presence and knowing the zone. Murakami's a crazy swinger.
Yeah, so,
he's a Suzuki for
first and
the
third
Cubs.
guys are just not.
No, the Rays aren't going to, but both
good.
those guys are going to be, well, I think Murakami's probably going to get 125, 150, in that neighborhood. Okamoto will be less. I'm just saying to keep an eye on that guy being a name guy, that there's going to be more excitement than people realize, because if you really scout him properly like I have, Okamoto is a quality bat. If you can have a Hideki Matsui for a few years, a lot of teams will tell him he was 20 homers, 90 RBIs.
Oh, yeah.
You just pencil
the
it
rock,
in.
Yeah. All right, partner, good stuff. Thanks again for all the information. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, we'll be doing this every Tuesday and Friday. It is the best Rays MLB podcast
Thanks
in the
to
area.
sponsor.
Oh, yeah, thanks to Texas Roadhouse, Western Chapel. I could use this steak.
Really?
Baked potato
You're
right
feeling
now.
it right now?
Friday afternoon. Kingmakers.com, kingmakerstampa.com. Go there to check it out, all the information there. Become a member here. The Murphy Auto Group, Genesis of Tampa. Stop by there, bring some hurricane relief stuff this weekend, and they'll bring it on down to Jamaica, make sure it gets to those folks. So we thank them for doing that. And go buy a car. Go check out, test drive those Genesis cars. They are fantastic. Right there, 801 East Bears Avenue. All right, my friend. Great show.
Tranquilo y tropical.
Exactly. Have a great weekend, everybody.